Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tackling a really common challenge. How on earth do you package 10 years of complex, multidisciplinary experience into a single, compelling digital identity? You know, in today's hyper-competitive hiring landscape, recruiter algorithms and hiring managers are making split-second decisions about your career trajectory based entirely on your digital footprint. So if you've ever felt like your standard paper resume just doesn't capture the full picture of who you are and what you can actually do, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the precise mechanics of translating a dense, multifaceted career into a streamlined online presence that bypasses those algorithms and genuinely captivates the human reading it.
Here is our roadmap for This Explainer. First, we'll dive into the multidisciplinary professional. Then, we'll look at visualizing your digital brand, crafting a compelling narrative, structuring your experience and skills, and finally, networking and launching.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the multidisciplinary professional. To really understand this, let's look at our case study today, Idam Hussein Dekane. Idam didn't just change jobs over the years. He jumped across entirely different professional universes. He transitioned from a foundational BA in economics between 2009 and 2012 straight into public administration, working as a tax core process owner from 2016 to 2020. And, fun fact, during that time, he also co-founded an agro-pastoral NGO. But then, fast forward to 2022 and 2023, he completely pivots to the front lines of television broadcast journalism, becoming a senior reporter for the Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation. That is a massive wealth of wildly varied experience, jumping from deep financial audits and tax intelligence to frontline reporting and TV production. So this brings us to a massive question for anyone with a nonlinear career path. How do you strategically synthesize all this diverse experience into a cohesive online profile? Without a unified brand, multidisciplinary professionals are often unfairly viewed by recruiters as unfocused, or they get slapped with that jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none label. That cognitive bias is exactly what we need to solve today. When a potential employer lands on your page, they shouldn't be confused by your varied background. No, they should be immediately struck by your dual threat capabilities. The goal here is absolute unity, not fragmentation. Moving right along to Section 2, visualizing your digital brand. You know, the very first thing people process isn't your text, it's actually your imagery. Your profile photo sets the very first psychological baseline, so it is absolutely crucial to follow strict visual guidelines. A professional digital brand demands a professional headshot. You want a plain white, gray, or blue background. You want a business suit or blazer, good lighting, a friendly smile, and you must be looking directly at the camera in high resolution. What you absolutely must avoid are selfies, sunglasses, busy distracting backgrounds, or obviously cropped group photos. Why? Because busy backgrounds and casual settings instantly distract the recruiter's eye away from the most important asset, you. It literally dilutes your professional authority before you've even had a chance to speak. Next up, your banner image. Please do not let this be an afterthought. This prime digital real estate should visually bridge your dual expertise. For Adam, combining media and economics themes tells his unique story instantly. Instead of a generic stock photo of a laptop or a coffee cup, a banner showing a television newsroom, a broadcasting studio, or a city skyline mixed with journalism and economics graphics immediately signals to the viewer, hey, this person operates at the intersection of public policy and media. It does the heavy lifting before a single word is even read. Okay, Section 3, crafting a compelling narrative. Now that we have the visuals locked in, let's craft the written narrative, starting right at the top of the profile with your headline. Think about these 3 strategic ways to write a headline. The first option is highly recommended because it comprehensively lists specific, highly searchable roles across both of his disciplines. It reads, senior journalist, television producer, news editor, economist, public finance and administration professional. Why does that first option win? Because it doesn't force Adem to choose just one identity. It boldly claims his full professional footprint. Plus, it's highly indexable for recruiter algorithms. That means when hiring managers search for either an economist or a news editor, his profile is perfectly positioned to pop up in both queries. Notice the massive shift in tone you need when moving from a traditional resume to a digital presence. Take a dry, traditional CV fact like produced and presented news stories covering political and economic issues. That simply tells people the mechanical tasks you performed. But a digital narrative, that injects humanity and purpose. Something like, I am passionate about ethical journalism, evidence-based reporting, strategic communication, and public service. A digital narrative tells people exactly why you do what you do. It elevates the whole conversation, showing that his background in economics actually empowers him to analyze complex policies and communicate them clearly to the public through his media skills. Oh, and don't forget a super quick practical step to clean up your digital footprint. Customize your URL to be simple and professional, ideally using your real name. Instead of a random string of numbers generated by the platform, a clean URL like linkedin.com/in/AdamHussain is easy to share, looks awesome on a business card, and shows an underlying attention to detail. Let's pivot to Section 4, Structuring Experience and Skills. Instead of a confusing, chronological list of jobs that bounces abruptly back and forth between tax offices and newsrooms, we group his experience functionally into core identities: reporter, producer, editor, and economist. Get this. Recruiters spend an average of just 7 seconds scanning a profile before making an initial judgment. 7 seconds. Functionally, grouping your experience does the cognitive heavy lifting for them. Under senior reporter, we highlight his research on politics and economics. Under economist, we highlight his policy analysis and public sector management. This functional grouping immediately proves how his diverse roles complement each other rather than clash. When it comes to skills, you want to populate your profile robustly, but strategy is key here. By clustering distinct media competencies together, things like news reporting, investigative journalism, broadcast journalism, and content creation, you aren't just rattling off a list of tasks. You are building an undeniable wall of authority in that specific sector. Creating a concentrated cluster of media expertise teaches the platform exactly what you excel at, making your core competencies absolutely undeniable to anyone reviewing your credentials. Then, we balance the profile by highlighting his equally strong skills in public finance and policy analysis. This definitively proves his dual threat nature to any viewer. Adding economics, public finance, and policy analysis right alongside those media skills shows exactly why he is so effective at reporting on economic issues. He isn't just reading a script, he has the deep foundational knowledge to actually understand the data he's presenting. It makes the entire profile incredibly cohesive. Finally, we hit Section 5, Networking and Launching. So here's the thing. A great profile is basically useless if it remains totally invisible. To activate your new digital brand, you must proactively build a network. You identify targets, fellow journalists, TV producers, economists, government communication officers, and NGO professionals. Then you send a personalized message introducing yourself to secure at least 20 highly relevant connections. Why 20? Because getting those first 24 specific industry-aligned connections fundamentally teaches the platform's algorithm exactly who you are, and more importantly, whose feeds your content should be pushed into. It trains the system to work for you. Ultimately, the launch culminates in an inaugural post that acts as a digital handshake. A strong post announces your presence, summarizes your multidisciplinary value, and invites meaningful conversation. By stating, "I look forward to connecting with fellow journalists, economists, and policymakers to collaborate on initiatives that create positive impact," you are actively opening the door for engagement. It perfectly references a unique blend of television production and public finance, and it politely, professionally invites a brand new network to exchange ideas. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to reflect on regarding your own professional footprint. Take a look at your own profile today. Ask yourself, is it just a digital filing cabinet of past jobs, or is it an active, engaging narrative that perfectly positions you for your next big opportunity? Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope this gives you the exact blueprint you need to engineer a digital brand that truly reflects your potential.